Hi everyone, it's Toyo and you're welcome back to the channel. If you're returning and if this is your first time, you're welcome. I am a YouTuber in Cyprus and today I just want to give a brief story of when I was ill with kidney stones during the COVID period in Cyprus. It started in 2020, August or so. I started feeling really sick. I was feeling constantly nauseous. I was having headaches. I was having tummy aches and backache as well. After several tests and everything, the first thing was that my blood pressure was high. The doctor found it really strange because he was like, I was too young for it to be happening to me. And so he just wanted some further investigation. So I went for tests. They checked my liver function, kidney function, several things like that. The test came back and said that everything was okay, but those feelings still continued. I was put on blood pressure meds. After like a month or something like that of treatment, I was still feeling really bad. And then in October, over a couple of days, I just realized that my pee was not looking normal. My pee was not looking normal. I messaged the cardiologist because that was actually the doctor that I was seeing, and he told me that if I really wanted to know what the issue was, that I have to pee into a clear bottle. And so I peed into a clear bottle, and trust me, that wasn't what I wanted to see. When I did that, I checked the bottle because my pee was looking, at the time my pee was looking brownish, and it was just weird because it wasn't the normal yellow or light yellow color that we used to see. And when I did that, what he asked me to do, I eventually found out that my pee was actually red. And when I say red, I mean I have pictures, but I can't really post it here. And maybe like juice, fruit juice, cherry juice, something like that. That was the color of my pee. I was really terrified. I ran to the cardiologist's hospital, and he said, okay, now this is the problem. This was why my blood pressure was rising. Meanwhile, I had already been put on antibiotics before because one of the tests that came said I had UTI. So I was put on antibiotics. He then asked me to go for an ultrasound because we needed to check my kidneys this time around. And so I don't know what happened, but he told me to go to General Hospital. I went to General Hospital and they told me to come back in a month's time. And I was just wondering, so if something really bad was supposed to happen to me, I was going to wait for 1 month before I carried out a test. And then one day I just lost, I was looking for the paper where it was written, the appointment was written for me. And I realized that I couldn't find the paper anymore. And so something just said, let me even ask this doctor, can't I go to a private hospital? And he told me to go. And I was just wondering, why didn't you say it all along? That the day I went to private hospital, I got the test done and I got the result. So I went to this hospital that was close to me, a private hospital, and the radiologist that was going to run the scan on me, immediately he put the machine on my tummy because I had expressed previously that I was feeling pains in my stomach and my back. Immediately he was like, oh, these are stones. Stones, very big stones. And I was like, which one is that one again? Stones in my kidneys. I had to go and read up what the kidney stones meant. The first thing I asked, because every time we hear kidney, it's usually something worse. And the first thing I asked was that, can it be cured? And he said, yes, of course it can be cured. He mentioned that I will most likely be given antibiotics, really strong antibiotics, and then drink a lot of water. And if it doesn't go, I will have to be operated on. I didn't want that. I wasn't even prepared for that. Who is ever prepared for sickness? I took the results to the cardiologist, and then the cardiologist then referred me to a urologist. So it was a urologist that stopped the previous drugs I was taking and gave me these really, really strong antibiotics. I can't remember the name, and that I'm supposed to drink a lot of water, and then in let's say 1 to 2 weeks it's supposed to have cleared out. And he said if it hasn't gone, because apparently the stones were big, I can't remember the millimeters because I tore those papers and I threw them away after everything. And so the cardiologist concluded that it was because of what was happening with my kidneys that was also affecting my blood pressure. I started drinking a lot of water, and this was the period where I actually fell in love with water. Every time I hear people saying I can go a whole day without drinking water even, it's not a flex, so It's not a flex. I learned how to drink water by force. My life was at stake here. I took the medicines for I think a week. My pee had not cleared. I was still feeling the pain. Maybe the pain had reduced just a little bit, but I was still feeling blood. I went back to the doctor and I told him, and then he said, okay, now we have to have a procedure. And then he mentioned to me that the procedure was going to be a very simple procedure. You can do it in one day and then that's all. He then directed me to General Hospital in Lefkosha, another city in the country where I stay. He directed me to General Hospital there because the machine that will be used on me was not available in private hospitals and was only available in General Hospital in Lefkosha at the time. Mind you, this was all in COVID period. So I put myself together. He even told me, I wasn't going to have to pay anything. I had just graduated in 2020, July 10th, 2020, and I wasn't a student anymore. I was still trying to make up my mind if I was going to do a master's. I didn't have the health insurance that was going to allow me to have that procedure for free. I went to the General Hospital, one of my friends, Vicky. We went there, we're in the hospital. This was in November, and we're thinking that after today this whole thing is going to be over. We went to the hospital, we're there was language barrier. We weren't attended to until much later, and if you know how general hospitals are. General hospitals are usually very, very annoying and stressful. You're going to be sent up and down. No, it wasn't a very nice experience for me. I eventually got attended to by one of the doctors there, a urologist, and then he asked me if I had health insurance. I said no, I don't. And then he said I'm going to have to pay for the operation or the procedure if I want to have it in this hospital. So I asked how much it was. At that time, I didn't even have the money for it. When he told me, I was a bit startled because I wasn't prepared for this at all. And he told me that I cannot have it that day. But this was after like how many hours, like maybe 5 hours of waiting in the hospital. He told me I wasn't going to be able to have the procedure that day, even if I had the money now, and that I was going to have to come back. Like they gave me a date for 3 weeks after. I have to come back on my own, but I will come a day before the procedure and I'll leave a day after the procedure. So after I had the money that it was going to take to do the procedure, I started fundraising, and I'm always so grateful every time I think about this process because I had loved ones, friends and family that I didn't even have to ask. I didn't have to ask too much. I didn't even have to ask some people. Immediately I mentioned like what I was going through at the time. Money fell out almost immediately. In fact, I had excess. It was finally time for me to go for the procedure. And like I said before, this was COVID period. Before the procedure, even before going to the other city, the General Hospital, every time I had to go to the private hospital, every time I had to see a doctor, I had to come with negative COVID test result. It was so stressful, so hectic for me. I always felt violated the way they would put that thing into the nose and into the mouth. Like what sort of thing is that? Anyways, that one is the story for another day. But trust me, in this period where I was ill with the kidney stones, I did the COVID PCR test maybe almost 20 times, to be honest. When I got to the hospital, they then told me to go to the heart center because they needed to. Some doctors had to clear me to be able to go further with the procedure, which was supposed to be the next day. Also, because of the language barrier, I didn't even understand the directions they gave to me, and it wasn't in the particular building. It was like a 10 minutes walk. I had to walk to the heart center within that premises. Mind you, I was going through a lot of pain. I had traveled from my city to the other city. I hadn't eaten because they said I shouldn't eat because they were going to run some tests on me, and every time I remember this thing, it almost gives me headache. I couldn't find the place. I had to go back to the urology center, ask them for directions again. I eventually got there. When the woman checked my blood pressure, she was like, am I married with children? And I was like, none of that. She first of all said she wasn't going to clear me for the operation. I was like, how now? How? The urologist explained to her everything that I had gone through and why, the operation I'm supposed to have and things like that. And then they also concluded that because I had been stressed, I hadn't eaten, just so many factors contributed to the way my blood pressure was at the time. And then she eventually cleared me. I went back to the urology center. I was admitted into a room, and I was asked to rest, to sleep. I was given medicines to calm me down. Eventually, my blood pressure came down. The next morning, very early in the morning, I was going to have my procedure. One of the things that really traumatized me that period was the fact that I wasn't allowed to come with any friend or family. It was so painful. Nobody was able to come to the hospital to be with me. And I found that really funny because I don't even know if it was about PCR test, because I was sharing a room with another Turkish lady, and the Turkish lady there who had the same issue that I was having was with her sister. And the next day when she had her operation, her father and mother came there to see her. So I was just alone in the hospital. There was nobody with me. The next day I was prepared. I was asked to change. The nurses were gisting with me and talking with me, and then I found myself downstairs. I wasn't prepared for the next thing the doctor was going to say. When I woke up early in the morning, I had already spoken with my friends and told them that this is the time for the procedure. I asked my friends for fish and plantain or something like that. I was deceiving myself. I was not allowed to eat that thing. There was special food for people in the urology center, food that was bland, no salt. I managed to eat the food just to stay alive. So when I woke up, thankfully my friends had come to see me. I don't even know how they did it, but they prepared the food I asked them for. They prepared everything, and they came to the hospital. It was really cold there. The blanket they gave me was not sufficient. They brought me extra blankets and the food I asked for. I saw them. They called my family. They told them okay, I was okay. I was recovering, blah blah blah. And so they had to leave. So they weren't even there with me for a long time. Afterwards, the doctor came to me and told me that they weren't able to get the stones out, and I was wondering what happened, how comes. And then he told me that what they did was that they put something inside my ureters, leading up to my kidneys to help release fluids. Because of the stones that were there, I was not releasing the fluids that I was supposed to release. I was also told that the stones were not only in my right kidney, that the stones were also in my left kidney. What kind of problem is this? I was so heartbroken. The doctor then told me that they were going to run a particular procedure on me, and this procedure was called shockwave lithotripsy. So the shockwave lithotripsy is they're going to put a particular machine on the side where the stones are, and then they're going to send shock waves to the kidney. The shock wave is supposed to break down the stones into smaller particles, and then while you're on water therapy, so you're drinking a lot of water, the stones are going to pass out from your kidney. I also had a catheter with a bag for urine in the period where I was in the hospital. Heartbroken as I was, I communicated this thing to my family and my friends, and I'm just so grateful because I had the support system I had around me. My friends, like people were praying for me, my cell leader, my friends, my family. Prayers were constantly made for me, and I'm always so grateful for that, because I don't know what would have happened if I didn't have this. Something else happened in the hospital. So the night after the procedure, after they had put the thing inside of me, by the way, this thing that they put inside of me is called a stent. They put it into my ureters. They had already explained to me, so I wasn't supposed to stand for long, I wasn't supposed to walk for long, but I was supposed to drink water, like almost drown in the water. So that was when I fell in love with water. I fell in love with water so much. That was all I was drinking. I was peeing every 30 to 45 minutes, and I'm not even exaggerating. Meanwhile, so I was given restrictions on things I could eat. I had to reduce my animal produce, and that was why after my procedure, I actually went vegan for some months, and some people were wondering what was going on with me and things like that, but they didn't even understand what I had just gone through. And the night I had that operation, it was terrible. It was a terrible night. Every night, the nurse would come and chook that thing inside my nose for another PCR test. One nurse that night just came to meet me and spoke to me in Turkish and walked away. And I was like, are you looking at me like a Turkish person? What is really going on here? He spoke to me in Turkish, and I was just there lying down in pain and all that. And then the lady that was there, the sister of the lady that also had an operation, came and translated what he said to me with her phone. And it actually said that I was supposed to stand up, dress up, and go to the to the x-ray center and do a scan on my body. So I was supposed to go do a scan for the doctors. Doctors had requested for a scan. I didn't understand what this guy was saying. He just came and spoke Turkish to me. It was this same lady that asked for my clothes. She asked where my clothes were. I had to point at my bag and she dressed me up. Like I said, I wasn't with any family. They didn't allow my family to be in the hospital with me that period. That's one of the worst periods of my life. She dressed me up, helped me to stand up. Usually the people that were there, they were usually with people that would either wheel them on the wheelchair to wherever they had to go or help them walk. I had just had an operation that day, and I was left on my own. That day I cried to go and do that x-ray because I was walking like a snail. I had to carry the catheter that they had inserted inside of me on my own. I was in pain. I was just walking so slowly. I went there, I did the x-ray, and I came back. And the next day I was discharged, and I was told that I was going to come back for the next 6 weeks for the shockwave lithotripsy, and it was going to be 3 weeks for each kidney. Even this whole 6 weeks thing, let's say for the right kidney procedure that was supposed to take 3 weeks, it took like 5 weeks because something will happen. They will say they're on holiday, the doctor is not something. You know how general hospitals are. Anyways, I finally went through this whole thing, and then I started preaching to people to start drinking water. Like when I went through this thing, I started telling people, drink water. There was a particular day I was at home. I went to pee, and when like a ball comes out of a pipe with water with force, that was how my pee felt. And that was actually the day I knew that the stones had come out. I was supposed to go for the 4th procedure. By the way, that procedure was actually quite painful. It was painful. It's sending shocks to your organ. When she finished the 3rd one, the 4th procedure, which was supposed to begin on my left kidney, so that was the first one for my left kidney, she just said she wanted to check the right kidney just to be sure there was no remnant or no stone or nothing that she had to repeat the procedure on. She checked it and realized that there was nothing there, and so she moved to the left kidney. In the scan that was done before on me, they saw that there were stones in my left kidney. It was time to start the procedure on this left kidney, and then lo and behold, this woman kept on checking the x-ray. I was wondering, why is someone taking so long to begin this procedure? I beg. Eventually she now said she can't see any stones in there. I was like, do you know the God that I'm serving? I was not surprised. I was really thankful though. She said she can't see anything, that she called the doctor. The doctor said I should come downstairs and do an x-ray, and so I went to do the x-ray, and then the doctor said that everything was clear. Oh my goodness, I was so excited. I started calling everybody. I started calling my friends, I started calling my family. I called my mom. They cleared me of the kidney stones and then told me that in like 2 weeks I was going to have to come back for another operation so that they can remove the stent that they put inside my body. I was scheduled for another operation. That particular one too was bad because I still had to do COVID test, and I was put into a room with one old woman. She's probably almost 100 years old. She looked like she was disappearing. I almost sat on the bed because I didn't know that somebody was there. My pee had now cleared. I was cleared of the kidney stones and my pee was back to normal. My blood pressure had started coming back to normal. I was just so grateful to God. Trust me, this story is a lot more detailed. The suffering that I went through, everything that I had to go through at the time, the severe pain, the back pain, tummy pain, blood pain, everything was over the next year in February. That was when I had the last operation, and then everything was back to normal. And so this is your cue to start drinking water. If you haven't started, start drinking water. If Coke is your water, stop it now, because one of the reasons why kidney stones might form, apart from poor diet, is not drinking enough fluids. And the best fluid for you to drink is water. That's the best fluid for you to drink. Not even green tea, not even whatever it is, water. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed my story. Thank you for sticking till now and watching and listening to me. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. I'll definitely see you in my next video.